All right, well, welcome to Cafe Chronicles. Tonight we have the fantastic Don Puglisi. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Ted. It's an honor.
Absolutely,
It's beautiful in here.
Yeah. Brand spanking new.
Yeah,
Kinda.
you guys are doing great.
Yeah. So let's get right to it. So Cafe Chronicles, we talk about maybe a memorable event that you've experienced in the cafe, or maybe one of your performances at the cafe. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah. There's a couple things. First of all, my niece, Vanessa Carr, performed here and did this debut of this Detroit music video that she did, and I was really proud of her. She's doing really well. She's quite the performer, big voice, and she's done across the street. She's done the national anthem at Ford Field and stuff. So she's quite a singer
Vanessa.
around town. Vanessa, she's lovely.
Yeah, I was surprised to see you here that night.
You didn't know she was my niece?
No, I did not.
Isn't that wild?
I know. Small world.
She was on my lap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was very special. And another special thing was when we played here, and it's an honor to have you playing keys. I call him Teddy Keys.
Oh,
he and I are always on the same page with things.
Yeah.
We look at each other and we go,
Yeah, it's an honor for me.
Yeah,
to play with you. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So maybe we should talk about the Bob Dylan experience.
Yeah, that show was one of my other things that happened here that was great, because when we were rocking out we sandwich the show, right? We rock out at the beginning, then we do the acoustic stuff, and then at the end we rock out again. And there was this group of people up front that were dancing, and there's no dance floor here.
Right,
it's an intimate boutique kind of feel, which I love. And they were dancing, and afterwards, a man came up to me and said, I felt like it was 1965 again. It felt so great and so safe and so, what is the word? Innocent again,
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a thrill. That was a thrill to hear that. I'm like, wow, this is working. Okay.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So that was like a defining moment when we played here.
Yeah.
That where I thought, okay, this, I'm stuttering a lot. Sorry, guys. But where I
We'll
knew,
take it out in post.
No, then it'll ruin my whole personality thing. I'm all based on the stutter. That made it clear to me that this thing could have legs.
Yeah. Because you don't think about people dancing to Bob Dylan.
No.
Because that surprised me a lot when we played. Like we did the Token Lounge, we did the Detroit Club, and people were going insane.
I don't think of dancing and up on your feet and rocking out when I think of Bob Dylan.
I don't either.
I mean, Positively 4th Street, they're rocking out to it, and we didn't speed it up, not to my knowledge anyway. So that was like, wow, this is rock and roll. Because I don't I know Bob is a rocker, but I don't think of him as a rocker.
Yeah, I don't either.
At all.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. Because, some of those tunes, I can see where people would say that it takes me back to a time where, I might feel like I'm living in the 60s.
Yeah.
I get that.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know about, hitting the dance floor to Bob Dylan. But, hey, that's fantastic.
Can I share something that happened at the last show that was so personally interesting to me? Okay, so it was during the rock moment, where we're doing the series of rock tunes, and there were all these people up dancing, women dancing. They're dancing like it's a rock concert, right? I don't know if you remember that, but they were, you and I were kind of up front together on, when we play position there. So I think you might have seen it, but I have the songs memorized. I'm behind the sunglasses and I'm looking out, and I said to myself, well done. This is what you wanted. And then I said to myself, self, why is it that all I can think about right now is being on the couch at home? And then I told a friend of mine that, and he says, well, that must mean that you know the songs pretty well, that you could have that conversation in your head.
I'll tell you what, and I think I've told you this before, but I am super impressed in you don't look at lyrics, you don't look at music, you know these tunes inside and out. It's a lot of material.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to like store in that head, you know?
Yeah, I have to say it's totally worth it,
Yeah.
you know, to do that work, and it ruined many nights of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it can take a long time to learn a song like Hurricane or Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. And then the easy ones, the funny thing is, it's the easy ones I still have to go over the week of the show, like Times They Are Changing and Blowing in the Wind. I still have trouble with that, and it has hardly any lyrics in it. Why would I? Maybe it's because Bob's writing, he does these similar things that are different, but then it's the same and different in the next verse.
Yeah, I know
you
what
know,
you mean.
and it trips me up.
Yeah.
But the more densely populated in terms of words songs, maybe it's the rhythm of the words, and then in your head you're like, oh, I love the way he said, what's that song? It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. He says, the sky too is falling in on you.
Yeah.
He didn't say, I probably wouldn't remember it as well if he said, the sky's falling on you.
Yeah.
You know, if he said it just like that, but he says, the sky too is falling in on you. He gets two rhymes in one sentence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is great writing. And it's kind of Shakespearean in a way, because Shakespeare, you know, pays attention. I believe he must have paid attention when he was writing a sentence and what goes on and how each word reflects off of other words earlier in it.
Yeah, if you listen to some of his old, like those basement tapes or those old like live recordings, outtakes, he'll stop, you know, mid song and say, "I got that word wrong. Let's retake it." You know?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very, I mean, he wants to get it right. The words, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's fascinating.
yeah, but he, I mean, that's. His songs are just words after words and just lyrics, and it's just very impressive to me that you do that.
Yeah, I have a pet peeve, you know, like even, you know, I play in a cover band and I won't do it for the cover band either. I will not do it. I'd rather say to someone, oh, we don't know that song, or we'll try to learn it on a break, or I've got another one for you, than pull out an iPad and read it and come out and do that. It just doesn't work. It's not performance to me, you know? You can't put things between you and an audience. Yeah. You got enough working against you. You got enough working. Don't you have enough working against you? That's how I see it. You know. Anyhow.
Huh. That's interesting. So, you were an actor for a while, correct?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's some like memorizing lines and. You know.
I'm used to it. Yeah. That must be why I have this pet peeve of watching musicians do that, because I've seen people do. Play readings where they have the script, but that's not the performance. That's a play reading.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do them and you have to pay to see the play reading, and usually it's celebrities doing it. And that I get, but you know it's a play reading. You know, I'm not going to do a music performance reading. Yeah. It just looks like practice to me.
I see where you're coming from. Did you go to school for acting?
Yeah. Well, when I went to Wayne State, I didn't know what to major in, and long story short, it was between art, music, and acting, and I loved acting, but music, you know, was the thing, you know, and I didn't go to school for it, but you know, we're playing angry, you know, I guess punk hybrid music, and then I decided art, and that was my major, and I went to New York and blah blah blah. So when I got out of grad school in New York, I just felt like, you know, I had this little apartment, and I'm doing this with my hand alone, you know. For you guys out there just listening, and it's a brush motion, and I just didn't feel alive. You know, I felt like I wasn't living, and I was working on a truck, and a guy said to me, you know, we'd riff all day long and joke all day long. It got pretty boring, being stuck on bridges and rush hour.
What were you doing?
I were delivering art. Art collections. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And he said, you should take my friend's improv class, you know? And so I did. And the improv class would do a show every 10 weeks, and then I found another class that did it every 5 weeks, and then I just went off with some friends and said, let's form our own group, and there was a whole scene, in the
Yeah.
Cass Quarter, all these bands coming up and, writing their own music and all this stuff. Well, in the 90s, there was an improv comedy scene. There were all these little storefront black box theaters where
That's
people would form groups. You could see a show at midnight, some weird play or a weird improv group. And it was musical too. So we had a piano player and we would improvise songs like a musical. So the piano player would know, like if you said something that sounded emblematic of a song, like if you're in a scene, say, honey, I love you, but it's catch as catch can. You got to think for yourself. The piano player will go hit a chord and go bum, 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 bum. And we know that, I got to make a song out of that. That's going to be the chorus.
That's fantastic. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would love to have continued with that.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
Because you wrote and directed your own movie too, or your short, right?
Yeah. Short, a couple of shorts. Yeah. That was a lot of work.
I bet.
But when I look back on it, the experience was terrific because when I was location scouting, I'm just walking around New York going, what would fit in here? Oh, I need a bar. I'm going to go into a dive bar. So I found a dive bar near the bus station, and it's called Tobacco Road, and it's no longer there. And also the end scene is on the roof of my building at sunset. But they put a building in across the street. So that sunset doesn't exist anymore. I couldn't get those scenes anymore. So it's like a testament to, what is the word? Not a testament, but it's like a archival record of what the world looked like back then, And
that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, the movie Quadrophenia? That director said that that's what he looked for when he was doing that film, because they had these bathhouses. People didn't have bathtubs in England, so they go to these bathhouses. And he said he purposefully did a scene there because he wanted to capture it.
Yeah, because they're singing some bebop tune, or not bebop, but like a doo-wop tune over the stall or something. I remember that scene. I forget who it is. But.
I think the mod Jimmy was singing something. The other guy was singing some rocker song, and he heard, there's a rocker over there. I'm gonna compete with him and sing a more mod song. And they're yelling and yelling, and they're naked and they're yelling, but they're separated.
Yeah, that's a great album.
It's a great
and a great
album
movie,
and a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sting was in that.
Sting, yeah. And Robert Fripp's wife. Robert Fripp's wife, Toya.
Who did she play?
She played that sort of that short blonde-haired chick. She looked kind of like tough, street, pill-popping girl.
Yeah.
That was her. I just found that out recently.
Wow.
But I got the poster. You see my poster? I got the poster of all of them.
That's great. Yeah, there were some great landscape scenes in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
When he's on the bike.
Yeah. I love that. And the scooter. He's the White Cliffs of Dover or something? I don't know what they're called. I think maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But man. So I forgot what the question was, but we went different directions here.
That's all right.
Which is what it's all about.
Yeah. You want to talk about what you're doing now, other than the Bob Dylan
sure
tribute?
Sure.
Because you mentioned the cover band. What's that? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Just it's just doing pubs and stuff and parties and do, I don't know, about 6 of those a month.
What's the name of the band?
Echo Friendo.
All right.
It comes from a movie too. Yeah. Friendo. The word friendo comes from No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Where he goes, what you gonna do now, friendo?
Yeah.
And then he'd kill him.
What a great character.
Yeah.
And you also have an original band as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's called The Fall Down Pretty.
Yeah.
And there's some records, and we did the Token Lounge a couple times, and we don't do it enough. I want to do it more. And there's this manager guy named Kyle Milashovic of Metal Afro Productions, who gets us some of these Dylan gigs.
He was at the Token when we
Yeah.
played there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he knows his stuff. He he convinced me to do this thing because I didn't want to do it. When I first started working with him, he goes, "Yeah, I'll get you gigs doing this, that, and the other." And well, you got to think about doing a Dylan tribute because he manages a bunch of tribute bands. Forever Foo, a Foo Fighters one, and he's actually in a Poison one, and he has his own originals band. They're very good. They're called Savage Reaction. I think they've been on the Riff. So anyhow, he said, you got to think about it. I go, can you give me a couple days? And so he said one thing that made me do it. He said, the money you'll make from doing Dylan, that you'll eventually be doing Dylan, will go into recording originals and merch. And I was like, okay. And he said, that magic word, the money you make. But that is to say, am I doing it for the money? No, I mean, I'm not. But yes, I mean, you want to play. I want to play all the time. That's all I want to do. So, and after having learned the Dylan songs, you just love those songs even more and more and more and more as it goes on. You just live inside it. It'd be like, like learning Shakespeare monologues,
You always find something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get sick of it.
Yeah. Well, even that song Tangled Up in Blue. I was thinking about it the other day. How many times have we played it? But then I was thinking like, okay, so there's something about feet and stepping and going and shoes. Like the first verse, he says, I'm standing on the side of the road, rain falling on my shoes, right? Got to go to the East Coast and pay some dues. The last verse, he says, I'm standing on the side of the road, got to get to another joint. So standing and standing, it sandwiches the whole song. And then, but in that third verse,
that's fantastic. That you,
yeah, I mean, these motifs that pop up, but the one I really think is great was when he says, I muttered something to myself as she studied the lines of my face. I felt a little uneasy as she reached down to tie the laces of my shoes, and they were tangled up in blue. Oh, I mean, I just love finding that, that kind of stuff. There's probably more in there that I haven't gotten yet,
Maybe he had a foot fetish.
I actually think he had a fetish for leaving. A lot of those songs are about leaving, having to get away.
Anytime.
Yeah. Just like Tom Thumb Blues. I mean, he's got to get away from the tour so he can go home to New York City where it's calm. Who goes back to New York because it's more relaxing in New York?
Yeah, and then earlier he had the Hard Time in New York Town. Remember that tune?
Which one?
It's a Hard Time in New York Town.
I don't know that.
Yeah, early Dylan. So let's get back to your original band because I'm very interested in original music. So, are you guys playing out anywhere?
There's nothing scheduled right now, but yeah, I'm kind of desperate to do that. It'd be great to open for sort of a national act coming through and do the Magic Bag or something like that. That would be great. Or even do something here if you did an originals night of different artists music, that want to do their stuff, But I'm very passionate about songwriting and about people being interested in it here. There's so much talent here since I moved back. I lived in New York until 2019, and I'm just very impressed with what we've got here. In New York, it doesn't exist. Even the cover pub places does not exist anymore. There's places in Brooklyn and Queens and Jersey, but my friends that were doing what I'm doing used to have 3 gigs a week are lucky to have 2 in a month because things closed down. And here, man, if you're willing to drive a half hour or 45 minutes or even an hour, you can, and you make those calls, and make those contacts.
Detroit is a great music city.
It so is.
And by Detroit, I mean, the surrounding areas as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would love for there to be a street like they have in Nashville It'd be so great to have a street like that where every storefront is a different kind of Detroit music, which I would enjoy much more than Nashville because we have so many styles that have come out of this town that really worked, from techno to blues to to name a style of music. Motown, of course. I mean, it's just and then
there's a
Jack
rap scene
White
too.
and,
Yeah.
I,
It's everywhere.
my friend Gary Martin, I believe, is famous in Germany. Something Galaxy. Sorry, Gary, I can't remember the name of your thing. But when I was in Italy, I met a German couple. They were young, and I told them I'm originally from Detroit, and they go, "Oh, we love techno." And I go, "I got a friend named Gary Martin," and I remembered the name of his thing at the time. They go, "Oh, we know him. You know, he's famous over there. He's not over here," which is kind of interesting because the Beatles had to go to Germany to become famous, and they came back, and they were nobodies in Liverpool, and then they came back, and then they were famous.
Parallels everywhere.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, do you do most of the songwriting in the original band?
Yeah, all of it. It's basically people going on along a ride, my ride.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
my girlfriend, I've always wanted someone to harmonize with, and that it's so wonderful to have someone that you play with that, because I love harmonies. I think if you don't have a keyboard player, you can get by if you've got really good harmonies. Like the early Beatles, they didn't have keyboards, but they had 3-part harmonies, right?
Yeah.
And the best, of course, is to have both. And
You're talking about Penny.
Penny, my girlfriend, yeah. So it's great to just have that, to be able to have a singing partner in your band,
Because Penny plays June Baez.
Yes.
Joan Baez to your Don Dillon.
Yes.
Yeah. And she does the I'm blanking on the song.
Oh yeah, I always screw it up. I always call it Blood and Stone, and she laughs at me.
Diamonds and
It's
Rust.
Diamonds and Rust. I always want to call it Blood and Stone. I can never think of the title, but it's a beautiful song.
That's fantastic. Her vocal performance on that.
Yeah.
It just I get goosebumps when we're playing it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's one of the high points of the show.
Yeah.
Because it really, the dramatic aspect of the show kind of focuses on their relationship. Well, his journey in music through her, I think. But yeah, she's done her homework. She's bought several wigs and sent them back until she found the right wig,
That's great.
And she's like, well, I'm too old to play 25-year-old Joan, so I'm going to send back the long-haired wig. I'm going to get that short-haired middle period Joan,
Because when she puts that wig on, she kind of turns into somebody else a little bit,
Yeah.
She's got that, Joan Baez bent going.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, she
So she's in the original band as well.
Yeah.
In Fall Down Pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is in the band? Do I know?
Oh yes, I think you do. You know the rhythm section very well.
Is it?
It's Chris Brown.
Yeah.
And
okay.
and,
I did not know that.
Nick Davidson.
I don't think I knew that. No.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't have a lead guitar player purposefully because, well, one thing is the more people you have in a band, the less money you make. so as far as playing in the cover band, I might have had another lead guitar player, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it, and I'll play harmonica. So there's certain songs that require, a lead that you'd recognize from the record, but I just decide I'm just going to play harmonica on that, but then others I will learn it pretty much note for note, or do songs that kind of improvise, like Santana songs you can get by improvising.
And you also do a lot of solo gigs, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you posting a lot of solo stuff.
Yeah, solo acoustic has been very, very good to me.
That's fantastic. And you do, I don't know if it's it can't be every Monday night because you're here on a Monday night, but you do at the Stray Cat Lounge. You do a songwriters night.
Yeah, the songwriters showcase at Stray Cat Lounge on Mondays, which you have performed at.
I know. Thank you very much.
And done very, very well.
It's a great night.
I don't know if you guys know this out there, but he's a fantastic songwriter and singer. You really take me to another place, and that's one of the highest compliments I can give someone when they make me stop and just go, ooh. Not just in what you're saying, but the way you're saying it, the sound of the music, and the genre style of it,
Thank you. That means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So So yeah, I feel very strong about songwriting. That's why I kind of pitched this thing,
Yeah.
Stray Cat, and
I love original music, and I love listening to it. I know a lot of people don't, and I don't, but
well, have you ever done a cover gig where you threw in an original song and they weren't paying attention
mm,
during the covers, and you did your song, and then they applauded,
yeah,
and you thought, "There's no way this crowd would care because I'm not even getting paid to play
yeah.
originals here."
Or you'll play the song, and they'll, okay, was that Leonard Cohen, or was that somebody else? They think it's a song they hadn't heard by somebody.
Ah, yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes, yes, and that's a nice
yes.
compliment
Yeah.
when that
Yeah.
happens.
All right, so we are playing here at Aretha's Jazz Cafe on April 5.
April 5th, Eventbrite tickets
Yes,
available.
tickets on sale now.
Yep, absolutely. So let's make this happen. I know we're gonna have a great time, and
It's so much
there's
fun.
there's people that have seen a few shows that want to follow us and see
Yeah.
it again and again.
Yeah.
Like those people that I was talking about earlier that were up dancing and said that it made them feel like they were in a different thing.
Yeah.
Well, they actually got us booked at the Detroit Club, and they want to come to this one.
That's
Who
great. The show is fantastic because it's not just a concert; it's like a theatrical event.
Yeah.
There's, you do the acoustic Dylan in the middle with and without Joan Baez,
Mm-hmm.
June Baez,
Yeah.
and then you have a journalist that comes in, and Dylan's famous for treating journalists kind, right?
Yes. Yeah, I love those parts. Yeah, it's tricky though. What I learned from the last show is that was a real rockin' crowd. So there's certain shows we need to edit some of those interviews, and other shows where we need to have it all in.
Yeah.
Like here on April 5th, it's an all-in theatrical. Leave all the interviews in because it's sort of got that cabaret intimate feel, which
Yeah.
I love so much about Aretha's Jazz Cafe. So there are some shows down the line we'll go, like,
Yeah.
like actually at Token Lounge, I said, Kyle, I'm a little worried about the interview parts because it's a rock club, and I said, if the interviews are getting a little too much, just give me one of these, and I'll edit a couple of them out, and he
Yeah.
didn't, but it's hard to tell, but I know for sure that the last one we should have cut more. We
Yeah.
did cut some as we went along. But
That's
yeah,
all right.
maybe we need to learn get a few more rock songs in there just to have in our back pocket.
Yeah.
Although we only have 27 songs right now.
Is that how many there are?
Yeah, well, I'm in 26 of them.
Yeah.
You're probably in 15, the full band songs.
Yeah.
I think there's about 7 acoustic songs.
I had a little baptism of fire,
Yeah, tell me about. Let's interview Ted. Tell me about what it was like learning these tunes.
Yeah, it's like because you asked me, you said, "Do you want to play keys?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely. And then I'm like, "What's the set list?" And then you sent it to me, and I'm like,
Oh.
"Oh my god!" So I was just, it kind of, I hadn't really listened to Dylan in a while, so I started listening to Dylan again, and I got really inspired and really motivated. So it was,
I'm so
it
glad
was
to have you.
fantastic.
I'm so glad to have you.
Yeah.
It's really a godsend to have a band that wants to do something
Yeah.
that will follow you around. And in a way, it's not my band, it's our band.
Yeah.
I think Dave Matthews said that once. Dave Matthews said, they go, "What's it like leading this band?" Something about leading a band. He goes, "It's their band. I'm just the singer." Because
Yeah.
when the songs are all written and all said and done, they got to work for everybody. They got to, we got to figure out what the endings are going to be. And I guess you could be a dictator and say it ends this way, but I'm totally open to a discussion of what would be the coolest ending.
Yeah.
Because
We've had many discussions like this,
Yeah.
So,
because those Dylan songs, as we were talking to Chip yesterday on his radio show.
Chip Kipps is the guitar player.
That's right. Yeah. There's another passionate guy about Dylan, and
he's fantastic.
He's a blistering guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about how most of those songs fade out, you know?
I know, yeah.
And so you have to create an ending, you know?
Yeah.
And you can't always do the same thing. Like there's a couple of them we do where, we'll be jamming out and then how are you going to end this? Well, if it's a bluesier song, we can do that old blues da 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 ba-da.
Yeah.
But if it's not, well, we do stuck inside a mobile with the Memphis Blues again. We do it in retardo and slow it down, and then we do a couple of those. We can't do that all the time.
Yeah.
Separate them in the set if
You
you're
gotta-
going to do the same ending.
Got
type
to
of
lock
ending.
eyeballs, though, on that stage.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
How am I doing with that? Am I okay?
Yeah.
Could I be
Yeah,
better?
fantastic. Yeah, we were at the Detroit Club. You kind of mouthed D. I forget what song it was. Oh, it was Forever Young. Because we changed the chord. Remember that? You looked at me
yeah.
like,
I looked at
D?
you and I went, D? Am I doing that right?
Yeah.
Changed
funny.
the chord. Well, that's a funny thing because that song, when I first learned it, I think I learned it wrong. And then I got the right chords. And I just couldn't sing over the chord. It just seemed discordant to me, but it's actually not. And then so you guys are re-educating me on how I can actually do it right. And now
That's a weird thing when you learn a song. After you learn it, and then you play it one way for so long,
Yes,
without going back and listening to it.
yes, and then you have to
It's
play
like
with some people that know it right or different.
Yeah, it's like you've written a different song. Almost.
Yeah.
So,
It's that can be challenging. It's interesting.
So.
Yeah.
All right, Don. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's
Sure.
been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Absolute joy.
How did you like it?
Yeah, Justin. Justin working the cameras back there.
Yeah, he's got a whole crew here.
All
hey,
right.
Bill. Hey, Tom. Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
No, I'm just messing around.
All right. So April 5, Aretha's Jazz Cafe. Tickets on Eventbrite.com.
That's right.
Or at the door.
Or at
correct?
the door.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Bring
come
your
on
mother.
down.
Bring your lover.
Huh?
Bring someone other. And we're going to have a great time. I know we're going to have a great time.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you
Always
for
do.
having me, too. And thanks for being Teddy Keys. I feel
Thank you.
totally supported.
Yeah.
Like I could hit a wrong chord or not even play a chord. I'm like, these guys can take care of what I'm missing here.
That's a good feeling.
It is.
All right. Don Puglisi.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.